Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today we are reviewing the REP Adonis, a lat pull down low row functional trainer all in one unit that is priced honestly pretty remarkably good in comparison to the competitors. I've used others like it. In fact, in my garage, I use it all the time. I have the Prime HLP single stack, which is basically their version of this, the first version. This one improves on that in many ways. In some ways, maybe not as much. I'll get into that, but this is the REP Adonis. Let's review it. There's been a lot of, I don't know, just fervor around REP products over the years because they've just improved over time. And this is definitely in line with all of their new design language, new quality of components. Basically, this is something that's done from the ground up. There's no white labeling on this from REP. This is a fully engineered, like very well thought out, similar to like their original AB5000 zero gut bench, similar to the Eris and Eris 2.0, similar to their Athena. REP, in many ways, is pushing the envelope, and this is definitely within that vein. Today, I'm gonna talk about what I think about it. Is it good? What do I not like about it? I've used, obviously, this one that's here. Also, the one I used out in FIBO, Germany. Today, specifically, I'm gonna talk about the Adonis, but if you'd like to see a full review also of the Pegasus attachment, it's separate. Also, there's so much going on. I think it's worth just having its own video. Make sure you subscribe because you can see that in the future. Also, if you'd like to see this one in comparison to the one that I think makes the most sense and the direct competitor, which I'm pumped because we're gonna get that one into the Rogue CTM1, let me know in the comments, or this one versus the Prime 2. Let's get into the review. Okay, I can't think of another lat pull down low row that's been as hyped as this one. This is a product category that I think has improved and increased over time. This is one of those products that I think you're gonna see more and more. You have it both on the budget end, say with Bells of Steel and their single stack, which I think is actually a pretty cool option for the price. This is more on the higher end. I would actually say it's more mid-tier in comparison to price. I would put Prime Fitness' single stack at the top price-wise. That's the one I use, like, I don't use it every workout, but I definitely use it every week, probably about 4 or 5 times a week. I'm using it quite a bit. I love that thing. I've gotten a ton of use from it. I actually took it from the standard 2 orientation on a squat rack and put it into 1. This style of lat pull down low row is really what most people should look for if they want a standalone for their home gyms because of the versatility. Now, REP has taken a lot of feature components from inspiration from Prime. I'm sure it's so well done. They're basically like, how can we improve upon that and do it in our own style? I think they've done that in some ways. That's not saying there's nothing about it that I think would be improved. So let's start with versatility. That's one of the things about these that I think is most impressive. If you want just the maximum versatility for floor space, I really think something like an Eris 2.0 or Rogue's version, or basically a rack functional trainer, you're gonna get a lot of what you can get with these, but you're gonna get it inside a rack. But there is something to be said about a standalone unit that's separate. It's what I use. They don't take up a ton of space. These specifically with the triangle base, you can fit in the corner, 11 gauge 3x3 uprights with 1-inch holes. Same things they use on the PR5000, which also means this can attach to a rack, say a PR5000 or Rogue Monster, any of those with 3x3 uprights. But that front upright having the holes means it can take a ton of attachments. So you can use the attachment like the Pegasus that you can buy for this one from REP, but there's also many other companies that have attachments that you could also use on this. One of those is, say, the Sorenex Bulldog pad, dip handles, or others. So you can add weight to those movements as well. Now, one of the things that increases the versatility the most is the ratios on the pulleys. This is actually one of the things that's most interesting about this. And one of the features that I think beats the Prime on is the fact that it has 2 exit points for 1-to-1 and 1 exit point for 2-to-1. Here's what I mean by that. The lat pull down is on a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning whatever is on the stack is the feel weight on your pull. So if it says 200 pounds on the stack, it's 200 pounds on the pull. But it's not just for the lat pull down. This is where it overcomes what Prime has done, and they actually have it for the low row too. They have a dedicated low row with a diamond foot plate that adjusts forward and back. So you can also have a 1-to-1 on the bottom, which means you can use all the goodness of the stack that you have available without having to have it halved, because you don't need as much cable travel on those. But there is an exit point where you want a lot of cable travel, and that's the functional trainer, which uses 2-to-1 ratio, which means that one has double the cable travel of the others, uses half the weight, but it's an area where you don't need as much weight. That is genius. It's awesome. It's one of the reasons that this thing is so wide. One of the downsides to this, they made it so wide because there's so many pulleys on the inside. If we open it up and you look at all the cables, it's just, it's because they're trying to make it so the top and bottom are 1-to-1 and the middle is 2-to-1. It's a design decision that had to be made, and I think it's a good one. I would rather have it a little bit wider with the multiple options for the ratios than have it thinner and not have the option for 1-to-1 on the low row. The lat pull is great. It extends far enough so you can get a pretty vertical pull. The low row, you do have to sit on the ground. Some people don't like sitting on the ground for low rows. I personally don't mind it. I did see an image of somebody like on one of their Blackwing benches that was in the decline function and they were doing rows. That's one way you could do it too, but most of you are gonna wanna do this on the ground. That is one of the downsides to this design. Technically, you could put maybe a foot plate up higher and then use the functional trainer pulley, but you don't have a crazy amount of weight on the stack. So you're gonna have to use plates if you wanna get up to that weight, and it's gonna be halved. That's one of the reasons that some people really like the Prime single stack, is the fact that it doesn't have the dedicated low row, but it does have a foot plate and does allow you to use the functional trainer exit point and has a really heavy stack, so you can do it on a bench just fine. So there's some give and take and basically some things that you're gonna have to give up with this, but one thing that personally I don't really mind doing is sitting on the floor, and I don't think most people do either. Now, like basically all of REP's products now, they are including band peg standard, so you can do accommodating resistance very quickly, very easily. The bands actually wrap around from the bottom and onto the weight horns. More on why the weight horns are there in a moment. This is not plate loaded. They offer a plate loaded version that's the same, but this one also has a stack. It's 92 inches tall, which should work for most of you. If you have a really short basement, it may feel tight, but I like the height because you can also connect it, if you want to connect it, to a rack, which means you can say put a multi-grip bar between them to your rack, have enough space where you can get in and out with plates, but you still have a big, massive, fully modular lat pull down low row. So REP has basically come out with their ecosystem where they're also offering storage. So you can do this in multiple orientations. You can have it like we have here, shown with the base. It's like 170 bucks to add it on. They're using the same leveling feet as Prime does, but you can use this and attach this also to a rack. You can use two of these and make them into a squat rack. Probably not something I'd recommend most of you when you have something like a REP Aris 2.0 or an Athena available, but you can also put wings off to the side and add storage with their storage. Basically, they made this with their ecosystem in mind. They thought this through really well because you can notice the holes at the top of the cross member are different than what you normally find. They actually have some that are really long. The reason for that is so they can attach it to other companies' racks too, or other cross members too. Something that a lot of companies don't do at all, so I actually like that they added that. Now, one of the things with the modularity and kind of the storage component is they actually added storage on this as well. You'll notice there's these like laser cut holes, very small ones on some of the side shrouds. Those are so you can put pegboard hooks in them and then attach your cable handles, or they're included micro plates for adjusting the weight. It's a really good feature. I like that they added them. Honestly, I would have liked that they added even more. I'd love just a ton of availability to attach pegboard attachments, but because the shrouds are so big and they're metal, you could easily attach magnetic hooks, no big deal too. Now, one thing that does affect the modularity of this that you have to be aware of is how wide it is. It's not like a standard like depth. Honestly, it's one of my biggest critiques of this. It's an engineering problem. In a perfect world, I'd be able to take one of these, I'd be able to take an Athena on the other side, then I have a dedicated lat pull down low row, and then I have the same resistance on the functional trainers, so I don't have to spend as much, I don't have to take as much space, and I don't have like the low row foot plate in the way, for instance, when I'm doing functional trainer stuff. That would be ideal. This isn't designed to connect to any other cable system. It's designed, if you want two of them for like a functional trainer, you're really gonna need two of these. And honestly, at the price, the space, all that, I just don't think it really makes sense to have two. Then something else to remark on is the quality and details. The quality on this is fantastic. Like the fact that this is what we expect now for home gym pieces is awesome. And you can get it, honestly, their price on this is, I'll talk about it more in a moment, but when you compare it to other options, it's pretty darn good. They're offering it in one color, which is their metallic black, but it does match if you have a metallic black rack too. It would match with those things. And honestly, if you have like a textured black rack, it's gonna look similar enough that it doesn't just like stand out, which is nice. It's black and silver. That's something with Prime's products that some people will get upset about, where Prime, basically on all the movable pieces, they'll put their Prime green. A lot of people like to do the green delete, where basically they add black or stainless. If you do mind the green, like this is a perfect option because it's black and silver. So it's gonna fit with whatever design that you have, most of you, in your gyms. There are aluminum pulleys all throughout. Another benefit that this has over the Prime version of the single stack. Prime uses nylon pulleys. It's a very smooth unit. I will say this one is probably even smoother. Their guide rod functionality on the head plate, I like Prime's better. It's smoother than this one, but overall, thanks to the aluminum pulleys, this is just as smooth, if not smoother. Rep actually used to even argue why they use nylon pulleys. They finally changed their mind and listened to me, and it was a great decision. And now they're using aluminum pulleys on everything, including this. And if you look inside, aluminum pulleys are not cheap. They're expensive. They're expensive to add. It's why I think for a while, a lot of companies avoided it, because it's just, you're gonna have to increase price. This has so many pulleys. Now they are taking a lot of components from their Athena and Eris, as you'd expect. One of those is the cable trolley. The trolley is nice. It's got a knurled handle with a big oversized pop pin. It's got this special plastic they use on the inside, so it goes up and down really nice. In use, rollers are preferable because they're smoother, but you add rollers, you're adding more weight. So then it's just a two-handed operation. This is one that you can operate pretty easily one hand, and it moves up and down really well. Now the other thing on the trolley is they're bringing the cable from the top down, whereas the Prime brings it from the bottom up. And it's one reason, say like their lap pull down seat, there's a cutout so you can bring the pulley through when you're using it. This one, the pulley comes from the top down. I will say, the pulley, the functional trainer pulley, I do wish it would go a little bit higher. That would be like, if I had another critique, that would be something that would be, you know, just a little bit higher would be nice. But they're also making it so that this can fit in a lot of people's garages. So I think they maximized their height the best they could, and it works out fine. Now to the stack. There is no weight stack upgrade. Some of you though, you're gonna want more weight. So because of that, they added the option of weight horns. This is give and take. I think it would have been cool if they would have added an option for a weight stack upgrade too, for those of you that just want a super heavy stack. But I like that they're making it not for like the 0.001% of the world. They're making it for like the majority of us mere mortals out here that, you know, 220 pounds on a lap pull down is really freaking heavy, especially if you're using any control on the eccentric. So for me, I really like this stack. I like how much they did with it. I don't want to pay more for weight that I never use. Also, having the weight horns on there, I think that should just be a standard for basically every stack, because you can add more weight if you want really quickly. Also, they include these little change plates that have like this nice design. I think they're pretty cool, so they fit on there as well. One thing I will say though on those plates, to me it feels like an afterthought of a decision. If you look at their new Eris 2.0, they've basically taken inspiration from Life Fitness with the drop-down change plates that stay on the guide ride, so you pull out a pop pin and they drop down. This would be really nice to have that. I don't like, it goes in 10-pound increments or 5-pound increments if you're using the functional trainer because it's 2-to-1. It would have been really nice if they had a 2.5 and a 1.25 or 5-pound and 2-pound drop down. That would be really nice because it'd just be quicker, it'd be out of the way. I could see myself losing these little change plates. It's just kind of annoying to have to put the plates on. Having it fully integrated would be superior. If they're gonna make any changes to it in the future, that's definitely one I would like to see added. They've already got it on their Eris 2.0, so they know it exists, and it's something that I think I could see them adding in the future. Now they do include quite a few attachments on this too, and they're not like crappy attachments. They're not their highest end stuff like their Pro Style. They're more of like a mid tier, which are okay. It's a hard chrome bar. It's not stainless, but it's got good knurl. They're including their knurled handles, 2 of them, vastly superior to the urethane D handles that they had for a while. They're also including basically a low row bar. A neutral grip triangle row would be a lot better in my opinion. I like that a lot, but this does allow you to also have this bar for doing curls and rows and things like that you can also use the low row functionality for. I mean, these are things that honestly, I think people would buy this and not complain, even if this attachments weren't included. So I really like that they included them because they're actually pretty decent attachments, and a lot of people would never even have to buy more because these ones work pretty well. Now for the price. This is not cheap. Like honestly, if you're in the more budget ended of the market, you're not looking at like a stack with this quality, standalone, functional trainer. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense for you. But for people that they're still on a budget, they don't have just infinite money to spend, and they want to save space and have functionality, I think this is a freaking great option. This one with the base is about $2,600, including shipping, and that's the selectorized version. You can get the plate loaded. If you compare that to the selectorized version from Prime, it's gonna be $3,100 plus. To me, it was like $600 or $800 shipped. It was about $4 grand basically to have that unit shipped to my house. This one is way cheaper. So if you're comparing those two options, there are things I like about Primes. Some of their quality just feels a little bit better than Rep. Some of their attachments are really nice, although this Pegasus seat is an incredible attachment. The height on this is a little bit taller. I mean, they're very comparable when it comes down to it. For the price, this is a no-brainer for me. If I was looking and I was gonna buy between them, like this would definitely be the one I'd get. Now, there is an entrant that we have to consider. That's the Rogue CTM1. That thing looks sweet, and Rogue is competing definitely on price. So I can't really tell you like if you should get this one or the Rogue. I haven't used the Rogue, so we'll just have to see, but they are gonna be very comparable. So if you're on the fence, like you can wait for that review to come out. Make sure you subscribe because we'll do a comparison review. But for now, I'll just say this thing is very well done. Rep killed it with this. They really did. There's very little that I'm like, that was a bad decision. Like they are improving so many ways. This thing is awesome. Now, one other thing I want to hit on is the assembly. This is a component that definitely matters. One reason that you pay a little bit more for Prime is it doesn't have as much assembly as you have with this one. This one, it comes in a big wooden crate, and it is partially assembled. They say on their site that it should take 2 people 2 hours. Well, for our people, they may be half as smart as the people that Rep used, but it took us 2 people 4 hours. So it took a little bit longer. You know, honestly, 4 hours is not that long, and you could probably get it even less. Sam basically said it wasn't that big of a deal. So just be aware, you know, plan some time, get some extra brews, bring some friends over, order some pizza. Just make sure it's cauliflower crust pizza. I'm just kidding. Cauliflower crust sucks. Biggest overrated crust in the world. But if you're planning on ordering this, just plan some time for the assembly. One of the things to consider if you're gonna use this as a rack, like you get 2 of them, which I don't see a lot of people doing, but just if you consider it, the low row plate, because it sticks out and is in front, would be kind of annoying. You just kind of run into it a little bit. You can pull it all the way out, but just something to consider. So what do you think of the Adonis? Do you have it? Let me know in the comments. This has been Coop from Garage Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.